question. Thank you. All right, Joe's in the house. Joe, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, your camera's not on. Is that for a reason?
Yeah, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not decent right now. Not completely
Okay.
decent. I
All
don't want.
right. Well, listen, let's talk to you. We got a guy in the house, ladies.
I don't want to offend any of your viewers. So, um, what I learned, you asking earlier about what you learned from your past relationships,
Okay.
and I learned that I was too generous. I was too nice, and my generosity was taken for granted.
Okay.
It happened a number of times.
Okay.
So you know what? So I decided I'll I'll go, I'll go very
Can you
easy.
give us an example, Joe, of what too generous means or looks like?
Well, the one that really hurt me losing a relationship was there was a lady that was had some medical issues, but she was a very nice lady, and I bent over backwards to help her with her medical situation to
Okay.
help her out. I got her a knee scooter. I took her to the hospital a few times. Even when I had to leave work early, just to accommodate her. And
Okay.
I really felt that this is the woman that I really want to be with.
Okay.
And unfortunately, um, she did not feel the same way.
Okay. How long?
Um,
Okay, really quickly, Joe. Couple things. How old are you?
I'm in my early 60s.
Okay. And how old was she? What's the age difference?
That was probably about a three-year age difference. Wasn't
Okay.
huge.
And how far apart did the two of you live?
Physically, I'd say about 15 miles or so.
Okay. Now, 15 miles in Los Angeles can be a 1 hour driving. So, how far time wise were the two of you?
Probably a good 30, 35 minutes.
Okay. Okay. So, I just want, and how long were the two of you together?
Um, a lot less than I wanted. Probably about 4 months or so.
A lot less than you wanted.
Yeah,
Well, okay. So, did you end the relationship or did she end the relationship?
she did.
Okay. And what was her reason for ending the relationship?
She never gave me an official reason, um, but I had a feeling at that point that maybe I wasn't the only guy in her life.
Okay.
But I don't know for sure. I never saw her with anybody else. She's like the nicest lady you ever want to be with,
Okay.
the
Okay.
friendliest lady, and that's my
So,
guess. But we never had an official cutoff. It just
okay.
negative vibes came
Okay.
out.
Okay. So it seems to me, and I mean, do you feel? I mean, do you feel a bit angry, bitter, jaded? I mean, what emotions are you?
No,
Does this woman stir up for you? I'm just curious.
no, not bitter. I'm not gonna hold her responsible per se.
Okay.
I'm the one who's hurt, um, and perhaps I was a little too much into it. Maybe I was just started too much.
Well, it
Maybe
sounds like you did a classic thing by giving, by buying her the knee chair or the leg chair, investing more time. There was an imbalance in your relationship from both a giving and receiving perspective. I mean, it sounds the way you're describing it. There was an imbalance. Is that how it
exactly,
felt for you?
exactly. Yes, it did.
So,
And
what positive things about yourself did you learn in this experience?
um, what I learned was that um, if you're seriously thinking about somebody, don't um, don't go too high um, don't do too much at once.
Okay, don't do too much at once.
Don't build the relationship too fast. Let it build slowly. And what I learned is that if there is no, I mean, I hate to say like I'm not a cheapskate. By all means, I'm very generous. But if I don't see a reciprocation, and I don't mean financial reciprocation, um, I feel like emotional reciprocation.
Yeah.
I'm not a type of person who wants money or needs money from somebody. Thank God I'm doing okay on my own, and I and that's a bit at least show some appreciation. Don't
Yeah.
take me for granted.
Yeah.
I
It's interesting.
One more thing, Jonathan.
Oh, sure, sure, sure.
There's I learned a while back there is a difference between using somebody and taking them for granted.
Mm.
Big difference. Now, none of my relationships I felt like anybody's taking me for granted. I'm sorry, using me, but I was being taken for granted.
Yeah.
Using somebody is like asking for things and never um, reciprocating.
Yeah.
Being taken for granted is it's let me put it this way. Uh, you leave your dog at home all day. When you come back, the dog is gonna love you unconditionally. Okay.
Yeah.
You take your dog for granted that he's gonna love you no matter what. Well, this is the way I felt about it. That the last couple of women I was in a relationship with, I wouldn't say complete relationship, a friendship with.
Yeah.
They I was being generous, and silently it was expected for me to be generous.
Mm.
Nobody took me. Nobody um, used me per se. I Everything came from my offering. Okay,
Yeah.
I offered to be nice. I offered to do things for her. She didn't ask for it,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's and it was painful.
Yeah. So, well, thankfully, on one hand, it was only 4 months and versus investing a year or 2 or 3 or 5 years only to have it in the same space. I mean, I don't know if that's a consolation for you, but I think the first 90 days of any relationship is like a trial period anyway, kind of the way a job might be, the probationary period. So, I mean, if you can look at it from that vantage point. But Joe, first off, I want to acknowledge something. Thank you for being vulnerable for everybody. My audience is predominantly women, and a lot of people are commenting already about you. So I just want to first acknowledge your vulnerability. But I want to dive into something because, okay, man to man speaking here. I've sat with my men's group in the past, and many of the men felt the same way after their marriage. They felt very unappreciated for their efforts. And while, some women have an entitled, expective perspective, there's a generosity when a man treats for a date. There's a generosity when he makes the plan. There's almost this built-in expectation that the man is supposed to do those things. But what a lot of women don't recognize is that's actually in many cases, sometimes it's coming from a place of, well, we are expected to do it, so we have to do it. And we may not be happy about doing it, but we're expected to do it. It's like work, like it might be a chore that you have to do at the house. You may not want to do it, but you have to do it. That's the way some people operate. Other men come from a place of generosity, and one of their biggest frustrations I've heard from men repeatedly is not being appreciated for our efforts. Now, women also say the same thing, so this isn't singular to men, but I would say one of the biggest reasons why relationships struggle is what you just described as being taken for granted, not taken advantage of from a place of being used, as you were pointing out, but it's coming from a place of being taken for granted. So, one thing is, Joe, look at dating is a crapshoot to some degree. As I said before, there's a probationary period. And obviously, she wasn't the right person. Now, I suspect something, Joe. I bet you didn't do your proper due diligence during the process of getting to know her. One of the weaknesses both men and women have is they don't know how to do their homework. Now, will you be candid with us? Were the two of you physically intimate with one another?
No, it never got to that point.
Oh, so it never got to that point.
No,
Okay.
and that was okay with me because I'm being super careful of who I get physically involved with.
Okay.
I'm an old-fashioned type of guy. Okay.
Okay.
And yes, I want intimacy, but I don't want to have the intimacy be part of it. Of um, of a letdown afterwards. I want to be what should I say? I want to be in a love relationship where it's emotionally love, and the physical part can come later. Okay, or will come later. I'm patient. Okay, on one of my girlfriends going back many years, um, it came to a point where we were being nice to each other and everything, and she was the one who initiated the intimacy,
Okay.
and I didn't want to push it because I didn't want to scare her away. Basically, it's like all that men want is sex and nothing else. I didn't want to do that, and I think in that case was probably a good 6 to 8 weeks after we started dating that she initiated intimacy.
Okay.
That was nice. I had no problem. We broke up for different reasons,
Okay.
nothing to do with that. But
So let me propose something to you, though. Since you're respectful in this area and you're not driven by your libido, is it possible with this woman? And I'm just throwing out some ideas just to throw them up against the refrigerator and see if they stick. Maybe there was a lack of passion between the two of you. There wasn't that sexual chemistry, and maybe she was dating other people. Maybe there was that. I'm offering you to look inward and say, could that have been a possibility why there wasn't enough attraction and tension between the two of you?
yeah, anything is possible.
Okay.
I can tell you that anything is possible. Again, I didn't want to be pushing her too much.
Okay.
I didn't want to push where if I start being a little demanding or too many questions or whatever, I didn't want to push her away.
Well, let
I
me just, can
wanted to build a
I,
relationship with her.
so can I offer something to you?
Sure.
Joe, if you speak from the heart, if you speak from here, you can't scare the wrong person if you speak from your heart. The wrong person might be scared, okay? But the right person goes, oh my God, I've been waiting for you all my life. I've been waiting for somebody who will open up to me, that will be vulnerable, that will be authentic, that will be transparent. So I'm inviting you to step into that power of who you are. And don't be afraid of scaring someone away. You only scare the wrong person away.
Yeah. Currently what's going on is with me, because of all the past history, I very seldom have a date now, and that's by my choice. Because yes, I am picky person, absolutely,
Okay.
and I won't deny it. And I what I'm looking for is not necessarily how should I say it. I want somebody who's got a good heart, which hard to find. there's so much phoniness, especially in the LA area.
Oh, you're in Los Angeles?
Yeah,
Okay, we're simpatico there. I'm in Los Angeles, so
yeah.
um,
I would guess we're probably even neighbors, but I'm not gonna go into that. So, but yeah, I've been following you for many, many years,
okay.
so I know about you and your some of your best relationships. So, and so yeah, it it's a challenge. And you know what? I'm kind of like I said, I'm in my early 60s.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sort of if I had to stay single for the rest of my life, so be it. It's better to be single than to be in a miserable relationship.
Well, that's the title of this video. Single is better than a bad relationship. And I think, you know what? And what you're describing actually piggybacks the conversation I want to have today is how do we cultivate that relationship within ourselves, and it's it starts by, I believe, if we can have good relationships with the people in our lives that we love, whether it's family or dear friends, is to cultivate those people that are preferably physically close to us and cultivate and nurture those relationships. I'm also a big believer of nurturing that little kid inside of us. That's where self-love is. Self-love is merely taking care of that emotional 6-year-old inside of us and say, hey, I've got your back, even though you're scared. And the fact that you're even watching my channel and you're curious and you're wanting to improve upon yourself, we've got to give a lot of props to that. And by the way, the fact that you were able to open up and share, and you've got women watching this video right now and they're commenting about you. Sassy writes, continue to stay selective, Joe. Your accent sounds Eastern European. Stay true to yourself. Your heart is in a great place. We're getting a lot of great comments.
Okay. Thank you, Sassy.
Let's see what else. J.A., you should introduce him to a sweet lady you aren't seeing anymore. That's a possibility, and we might need to talk about that since we're locals. Bianca says, thank you so much for opening up, Joe. Keep your spirits up, and sometimes you can meet the one when you least expect it. I am curious about something. Do you mind? Let's dig into her a little bit more.
Sure.
Where did you meet her, or how did the two of you meet?
We met at a synagogue event.
Okay, synagogue event. And in the 4 months were you together, how many times did you physically get together with her?
Probably most weekends, and during that period, it was my birthday, so she took me out to a nice restaurant in Woodland Hills.
Okay.
And so that was nice. I treated her to dinner many times, even though she wanted to split the dinner. I said, no, you know what? I gave her I'm not sure if it's called the option, but I said, I'll tell her, you know what? I'll pay for the dinners outside, and you can pay for the dinners in the house.
Okay. So she treated when you guys cooked and did that sort of thing.
Yeah.
To some degree, just recognize that being able to receive love is being okay when someone offers and treats. I just want you to know that there's nothing, that's also a demonstration of receiving. So just so you know, and the fact that the two of you made arrangements, that's, or agreements, that's fine too. So let's go a little deeper here. Okay. So what do you want? And I want to hear, what do you want when it comes to your love life?
I would like somebody who's stable, has her head screwed on right, somebody who's what's the right word? Somebody who knows how to be a good girlfriend, a good wife.
Okay.
You know what? I kind of want to put it sort of like an old-fashioned type relationship. like
Okay.
your parents, grandparents, or not exactly like that. I'm not trying to be an um, like a like what your grandpa used to be, but more like looking to be in a relationship and be serious about it
Okay.
and
So
contribute to the relationship. Um, and just one more thing about this one lady who I was really bitter about losing. One of my mistakes was that she wanted to have a beach house,
okay.
a condo by the beach. And I said, "Would you like me to buy you one?" And she didn't quite say no, and she didn't quite say yes. She was spinning through her head was, um, how what's the arrangement going to be as far as occupancy, and that's when started to suspect my offering to buy her a condo on the beach um, was kind of pushing it all too much. So,
Well, okay, I have something to say about that, and then I have something else to say
sure.
about what you're looking for in a relationship. So let's do a little bit of, for lack of a better word, some counseling here.
Okay.
Sir, to offer to buy someone a beach house that you've only known for a few months is I would think would be off-putting, or you could be taken radically advantage of. Okay. That's probably offering something before real trust was built between the two of you. And while that might be generous, and maybe you're a financially successful man, to blanketly offer somebody a home whom you just barely met,
All right.
I'm just saying from your perspective, I don't think that's healthy on your part. But more importantly, I highly doubt the two of you built the deep roots of trust that would warrant such an offer. Okay.
Yeah.
And you could have easily been taken advantage of in a usatory way versus a non-generous way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the main reason I was doing that, because she did have legitimate reasons for needing to live by the beach. She needed a cold environment. Okay. She lived in San Fernando Valley where it gets real hot,
Okay.
and her health condition um, needed for her to be in a cool environment. She could not deal with the heat, and I felt bad for her. And so I said, try to make you feel better. Would you like me to buy you a condo on the beach? And
Yeah, but
and
can I jump in?
sure.
I'm gonna react to that. You know what you could have said. You know, I understand how it must. And by the way, I know San Fernando Valley. I dated a woman who lived in Tarzana, so I get it. Okay. For those of us who are not in Southern California, let me just say it's radically hot where San Fernando Valley is. Okay. So what you could have said was something like this. I understand how frustrating it might be to live in an area that during the summers it gets radically hot. I'm sure your air conditioning bill goes through the roof. If our relationship progresses to something more serious, I'm in a generous position where I could probably, we could probably look to getting a home together, or maybe I could get you a home there once our relationship is built that trust between us, we're in a substantial relationship. Had you maybe framed it like that, which I think would have been healthy for you, it would have been healthy for her, but I would say it's a little bit extreme for someone you've only known a few months.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you're right. You're absolutely right, and that's how I learned the hard way, not to
Yeah.
be too
So now, Joe,
be
but I
generous.
want to, okay. So, I mean, I don't mean to, slap your hand for that one, but I'm going to gently slap your hand for that one. I want to come back to that question of what do you want in a relationship? And I want everybody who's listening to this and watching this right now, you describe the person. What you didn't do is describe the relationship. And And what I want you to envision, what does a relationship look like for you? Because you described what you want in a person, but that wasn't the question I asked you. I said, what type of relationship you want? Now, I know you said you wanted a wife, a girlfriend and a wife, but that's not what the relationship looks like. So I'm going to ask you this question again. And if you need some help with this, I'll guide you through it.
Okay.
But what does a relationship look like for you?
I guess somebody who has similar goals.
Oh, wait, time out. You just went to her. That's who that person is. I want you to try again. What does the I'm going to keep interrupting you till I help you get there.
What I want is basically somebody who has similar interests. Okay. Somebody.
All right, I'm gonna interrupt you because
Okay.
you're
Maybe I'm
talking about her. Okay.
Give me an example of what you're asking.
Okay, so if you've watched enough of my videos, and my regulars knows this, I'm looking for a relationship where we can spend on average of 3 or 4 days and nights a week together, doing shared activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends, traveling together, teamwork, building skills, both in our personal and our professional life, intimacy, both physical and emotional intimacy that leads to either moving in together or getting married. That's what it looks like, okay? Now, ideally, as I said before, we have a mutual shared passion. I don't know what that is. For me, it's my big passion is personal development, self-help, spiritual work, and therapy. That's my big passion. So I'm not going to ask you to do this in the hot seat, but what I'm going to ask you as soon as you log off is I want you to really sit with, what does it look like for you? I want you to get a calendar out and, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. I want you to look at what it looks like for you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to visualize. I mean, even if you want to get a calendar out and write it down, even on a piece of paper, start to visualize, what are the two of you doing together? How are you bonding together? I want you to visualize this for yourself to create this we'll call it a vision, a mission statement for you. Because I think what's happening is you're operating from that old traditional vantage point. You want a wife and a girlfriend, and you and I are baby boomers. So we grew up with that: go to college, get a job, meet someone, get married, buy a house, start a family. But for us in midlife, and this is what I want to impart on you, women in midlife are not the same as when you and I were in our 20s and 30s. They come to the table with their own life. They come to the table with a substantial life in many cases. So I want you to think about not your old traditional way, but look at it from the vantage point of blending with another person, and how can you create this blending of lives together? How can we create this together? I want you to start visualizing that, how we can do this together. And certainly you're a generous person, and hopefully you're with a woman who's a generous person, where you're both good receivers and givers of love, and operate from this place. And that's my invitation for you. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perhaps when I was describing, maybe because English obviously is not my primary language.
Got it.
And so I may be expressing similar to what you were saying, just in a different format.
Okay, but I want you to think about it as a we and not just her. That's what I want you to, by the way, how we frame things do matter. And I recognize that. That's why I want you to come at it from the vantage point of a we instead of them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, I appreciate you having the courage, the bravery to come on. For those that stayed this long, the reason why Joe's camera's off, he didn't feel decent right now, but I still appreciate having you on. You know what? We're local, so maybe we should connect together and break bread. Okay.
Sure. Yeah, I'm in the valley. I think you're in the West LA area.
No, I'm in Redondo Beach, so
okay.
I'm a little bit I thought you were in south of the airport. So,
No, that's okay. Redondo's not far from me.
all
But
right.
yeah,
Well, my friend, I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a big bear hug. Is that okay?
absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right, Joe. Thank you
And
for being
thank,
on. We
thank
really.
you to all the ladies who gave me the positive comments. Thank
Oh
you.
yeah, there was a lot of good comments from them. So big props to them.
Thank you.
All right, Joe. Joe was really brave not only to come on, but he shared something very typical for men, and that is men who have felt used and men that have felt taken for granted. And he led with that in this particular circumstance. But as we peeled the onion to Joe, we realized that this is a person, like I've always said to you ladies, there are good men out there. There are emotionally articulate men. There are men who are capable of a significant relationship. These men do exist. It turns out he met his previous relationship at a synagogue. So I would say, those places are a good place to go. Church, synagogues, that sort of thing. Go where people congregate together. And again, I want to give Joe some props. And some of the comments include, Joe, what a refreshing aspect on these things. Liz says, thank you, Joe. I wish you well. Brown Canetta's in the house. Thanks for being a great man. Alicia says it's challenging. It's been challenging meeting mature men who are not leading with sex and want me to pay for things too. I've been disappointed. Again, Joe is a perfect example. He didn't lead with sex, and he certainly was a generous person. Joe seems like a good man. RM Bells says Joe's very interesting. Nice to hear from you. Well, I think we got some value out of that conversation, don't you think? If you have something to share on our conversation with Joe or anything that I talk about, post a comment below. I'd like to hear your thoughts on everything. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. There's a link to join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. There's a link to follow me on Instagram and get all the books I recommend and to get my dating vows, all listed below. All right, we're going to wrap up this video as I always do. First off, give myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Barrick of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone, a pet, a teddy bear, a pillow, and give it or them a hug of love, because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we could all use more love in our lives. I want to thank Joe Daisy and RM Bells, and I want to thank Han for the $10 super sticker. By the way, you still have a chance to donate to the Connor Asley Scholarship Fund. I want to thank Liz and Alicia and RN Lynn and Sunny Pie and Brown Canetta and Sassy and Sunshine and Gigi and everybody who was on tonight. And certainly we got to give props to Joe as well for being on. Big hugs from Joe to you, Joe. Thanks, everyone. Wishing you all a super duper wonderful evening. Bye now. Bye-bye. Bye.